Well, welcome. My name is Vinnie, and we're welcoming Stephen Aaron Gray. Now the front end of this makes sense. A leading libertarian spokesman. It's the back end, the tech activist. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a tech activist.
Sure. Well, listen, I'm an advocate for liberty in all areas, including technology.
Okay. So are you pro net neutrality or totally against it?
Oh, I'm really against any kind of government control over anything. And so even the term net neutrality bothers me because I feel like it really masks the issue. So I'm definitely against what people are calling net neutrality because I think the real term for it is government control over internet service provider pricing.
Right. Now, it's interesting doing this talk show that I do here at New Haven. For the most part, you open up the phones. Listeners don't typically disagree with each other, but they had quite a heated conversation last week about net neutrality. You'd have one pretty much echoing your sentiments right there, and yet another listener, and even my producer saying, but we need it because these guys the prices are through the roof. Somebody's got to step in. I tend to think that somebody doesn't necessarily need to be the government, but there does need to be a resolution as far as this pricing war is concerned.
I agree. There does need to be resolution because the pricing is out of control. But people tend to forget the reason that the pricing is out of control. And the reason is government intervention and meddling in the first place. The government creates monopolies in this field. They often will assign monopoly privileges to certain companies in certain geographical areas. And once you have a monopoly privilege in a certain area, the pricing skyrockets and the service quality goes down. So the solution is for the government to get out of it completely, allow more companies to compete, and then the problem solves itself like it always does in a free market.
Right. Doesn't the possibility exist, too, and I've got to be honest with you, Stephen, I mean, the whole net neutrality, not so much the debate, but the term. I didn't understand net neutrality. I don't know how we even come up with these phrases. And there was Ted Cruz made noise for saying, well, this is Obamacare and the Internet or whatever, and a lot of people responded to that, whatever his comment was there. So I just kind of had it broken down to me last week, and my reaction is, it's the president, he's cutting in, he's going to do something, but nothing he ever does sticks. And then the response from listeners would be like, well, that's not the point, just even wanting to. I mean, this is the end of free speech as we know it. Do you really think that's possible?
I think it's entirely possible that this could really stifle free speech on the Internet. Government programs always start smaller, and then they expand, always. It's sort of a rule of government. I discuss this a lot in my new book, Ant Farm, that government programs, they start off small, and then they grow and become more expansive. And so we might see it start right now as price control, but once the government's involved, who knows where that's going to lead?
Yeah. And I know it says here, Ant Farm is a tribute to a George Orwell classic, Animal Farm. If you go to my Facebook page right now, just as a side note, I haven't filled out anything, but it's his favorite books, and I have Animal Farm in there.
Oh, fantastic. It's one of my favorites as well, yeah.
Come on. Why does everybody always refer to 1984? That last line in Animal Farm, I look back from pig to man and man to pig and pig to man again, and already it was impossible to tell which was which. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. My book actually really structurally follows his book very closely, but it has a very different philosophy. So I think your listeners will find that comparison interesting.
Yeah, and it's actually Ant Farm, a novel about what's bugging society. The author is Stephen Aaron Gray, leading libertarian spokesman again, tech activist. It's interesting. Did you kick around? Is this available? What's the new thing? Flash fiction is a new way to go. And how do you feel, as a writer, how do you feel about the opportunities being presented online in that world? And that's why I struggle with net neutrality, too, because it seems like as soon as one area gets tackled, whether it's Napster, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Spotify and Taylor Swift. There's three others coming up that are making noise, and it's like, have you gone on Vimeo yet, or Hulu, or Dopo, or Dippy? There's always another one right there.
Yeah, Dippy's my favorite, of course.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to keep track. Certainly, it's hard to keep track of all the emerging technologies and all the new social networks. But only a few end up sticking. So it's definitely hard to keep track. I was watching one called Elo.co a few weeks ago, and that now is sort of stagnant. So who knows where that's going to go? But certainly, it's fun and interesting to pay attention to the emerging technologies, and really, that's sort of part of the point. Is the internet is one of the last sort of arenas of freedom where people can develop things and see if they're going to fly or not. And the public can make educated decisions as to which ones they're going to support without having the government hold their hand and tell them which ones they have to go to and which ones they're forbidden from going to. And I'd like to see that continue and not be trampled on.
Now, I know the gentleman that our liaison, if you will, one of the taglines when he emailed me was, people have to stop sitting on their hands. They got to get up and fight. How would you suggest they do that when it comes to the issue of net neutrality?
Well, like I was saying at the top of the segment, I think part of the issue is to stop calling it net neutrality. Like you were saying, that's sort of a misleading term. I think we need to call it what it is, which is government control over internet pricing. And once people sort of realize that, they can understand how that's a bad thing, because when the government steps in to control most things, everything goes south. And so really people need to educate themselves about it, speak up about it, and if there's enough sort of public outcry against this thing, it doesn't always stop the government from passing it, but it makes it less likely.
That's good stuff. Stephen Aaron Gray, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Again, the name of the book is Ant Farm, a novel about what's bugging society, and you could also follow Stephen on Twitter at Stephen, P-H-A Gray, E-Y.